Do you have a genital?
Yeah.
Want to take a picture of it? Yeah. And what the charge every month? You should charge this one plus another 1,000 for their membership. Okay. Start using this one, still go to the no. Provide my name. Yeah.
Who obvious you're going to charge it.
You go to do it, you go to I'm not going to that's a total to do two. One for the
Set up to the
29 and one.
Yeah.
I'm giving a share right now.
in the parsha.
I think my wife's some sure.
Kannst du übergeben
Yes.
Papierle?
There's a Geshecht monthly that has a sign reminding people, ice cream Geshecht monthly is a sign reminding people to make, reminding primarily Nashim to make, to say Bergas Shaka before.
Okay.
You were talking about the
Yes,
second.
this morning. Okay. In Parshas Vayeilech, it says, "Vayikra Moshe Yeshua v'yemer lo v'leinik kol Yisrael chazak ve'amot ke'ata tovei es omazeh la'oretz asher nishba Hashem la'avoiso loses lahem v'ata tanchilenu oiso." Okay, not a complicated pasuk. The whole Dvarim is like not so complicated, right? And Rashi is very exciting Rashi, but very simple Rashi. Rashi quotes the Targum, you will enter with this nation. Moshe Amar Yeshua, Skenim Shabador Yimach. That the Skenim, they will be with you. Hakalafidaiton Vatzos. Everything should be with their opinion and their aids. The Abisha said to Yeshua, no. Later, 20 psukim later, this is in Lamed Aleph Zayin, that's in Lamed Aleph Chod Gimel. Abisha says later to Yeshua, Ki'ata Tovi as Bnei Yisrael Aloretz Shanish Bati Lahem. Tovi means Al Korch. Hakalba Tovi Bach, everything is yours, everything is in your hand. Toil Makal V'Hakal Kodkodem. Take a stick and hit them on the head. Very graphic, very, very strong. There's no such a thing, two leaders. There's one leader and that's it. So the Mizrahi says, the Mizrahi is the first commentary and most important on Rashi. And the Mizrahi says, what's bothering Rashi? Es amazah pol yoytze rak pirush ketargum pol loimet pirush es amazah im amazah em divrei Moshe Yeshua shamol ezel derech eitze avol keata tovim divrei Hashem Yeshua shamol hakol pol bach. So basically what he's saying is it's bothering Rashi. Here it says tovoi, later it says tovi. Tovoi tovi pol oimet pol yoytze. What's happening over here? Is it tovoi or tovi? Tovoi, you're coming with. Tovi, you're bringing them. So Astira ain't posuk, a zweite posuk. It's a contradiction between posuk Zayin and Chav Gimel. So that's the answer. One Moshe Rabbeinu said, and the other Eibishter said. Okay. On the face of it, besides the drama about taking a stick and hitting this Genim on the head, it's not Psaz Ashvere Rashi, but the Rebbe's style of taking apart the Rashi. The Rebbe had the style of taking part of Rashi like a Play-Doh and asking a dozen kashas or more than a dozen kashas in every Rashi, and then you see how, what's the emphasis of Rashi. It's a Gemara, but Rashi like misquotes the Gemara a little bit. Rashi adds Hakol Toli Boch. Rashi adds a few words and subtracts a few words from the Gemara. And emphasis Takas is even the Kliyokor. Has a problem. Moshe said Tovoi. You'll go with. The Baruch Hu said that you'll bring them. Al Korch, Vam Toil Makal Hachal, Katkon Mishlak, Echt Soser, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Divrei Moshe, Ki Kol Dvar Nemru Benevuah Mepi Hashem. Moshe Omar, Es Omar, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Omar, Ki Ata Tov Es Bnei Yisrael, Noch a Kasha. First of all, I don't understand. Moshe Rabbeinu says things different than the Eibishter. It's a very funny thing. All of a sudden, there's a little bit at the end of Seif Yom, there's a little bit of tension between Moshe Rabbeinu and the Rebbeinu Shalom. What's going on over here? And the Moshe says one. The Moshe says the Lashon in the pasuk is Esa'om, and the Eibishter says has Bnei Yisrael. So besides Tovei and Tovi, it's Esa'om as Bnei Yisrael. Why is it different? Moshe Amar El Oretz Asher Nishbat Hashem LaVoisem Tol Yerusha Sa'oret BaVoisem. Shporach Lukat Tovei as Bnei Yisrael Oretz Asher Nishbat Lam. Lo Tol BaVoisem. Moshe Amar Lata Antan Chilal Hoisem. Shporach Lamaken. Nechayimach. Kol Hashem Malolu Aloi Doveru. I didn't quote the whole Kliyokar because I'm when I'm learning now Kliyokar. I just want to show that like even though it's such a simple Rashi L'choira, Sevarv Tzakleich Et L'che Shailas. So the Rebbe's Shailas are Azoi. The three Sugi Shailas. Number one, L'choira technical Shailas. If there's a stira between Tov Voy and Tov Vi, you should quote one word, Tovoi. And Rashi was very bediuk in which words he quotes from the pasuk usually. The word he quotes is usually the kasha. Key to the kasha is which word he quotes from the pasuk. The other thing is there's usually a klal with Rashi. If there's a stira between two psukim, he waits for the second pasuk to answer the kasha because that makes it makes sense. What affect that kasha? It's nishkin kasha. Why it says it does. Yeah, you're learning with the mechomish lemikah. You get to the later pasuk. Affect nyemel kasha. What's affects the yetza kasha? You know what's the kasha? My father's a malama. He still loved to say this joke that the kid was the Rebbe started saying Omar Abai Rebbe of Akasha. What was Abai? So there's one pasuk and there's a later pasuk. The later pasuk will come. Here it says Tovoy. There it says Tovi. Rashi can Akasha. Why is Rashi all of a sudden jumping and saying there's Akasha and giving an answer? Okay, so that's a few technical things. Then there is in the Teuchen, besides the fact that the Gemara here Rashi says Hakol Lefi Daiton, very strong lashon. Hakol Lefi Daiton Vatzosan. How did Rashi know it was Hakol Lefi Daiton Vatzosan? Where does he take him? Shutta Shemikra. The Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara says Atavaskenim Shavadari Moyim. Rashi said Hakol. It's even so. You know the Rebbe's Mahalach. Everything is going to be Lefi Daiton. Everything will be Daiton. Well, what's the Rashi Moisav Zan of the Gemara? Emes Taka, that was the Rebbe's Mahalach. The Rebbe said that Rashi is never quoting Gemaras in the Droshim. That's why he misquotes. It's not that he misquotes. Rashi is learning Pshat Lefi Shuta Shal Mikra or Ben Chomesh Mikra. The Gemara is for Ben Eser, Ben Chomesh Esrei. So the Gemara is Drush, not Pshat. So Elamai, so it doesn't have to be so different than the Gemara, but here and there, the Rashi doesn't say exactly what the Gemara is saying it. What's this Hakal Lefi Daiton? And why is it? The whole thing is so modern that Moshe Rabbeinu, on the one hand, this is Talmud. Rashi already said there was a stira. The Eibishter said Somach Yodcha, and then it says when he was Soimach, it says Yodov. Rashi says that he did Ba'ayin Yofa Yosef Yosef Mashin Etztava. He gave him b'shtei yodav and mole b'chochma, mole b'godesh. He gave him more than the Eibishter told him he has to give. Here he's like pulling the rug under his feet. He's taking like pushing him shot. What are you thinking? You're telling him Hakoil Alts is Lefi Das Haskenim. Lefi Das Haskenim, everything. You're taking the whole leadership away from him. What's B'chlal the Pshat? And then he says also two things. And another klal. The emphasis by that we find what's as a shlech that there should be shivim skenim. By Moshe Rabbeinu it says the masa almost too heavy. So the Eibishter said that we'll have shivim skenim and also itcha masa om. Like what's as a gefährlich to have the skenim and the nemesis l'choyre. What do you mean? Lo shnei daborim lador. And Moshe Aaron was who Aaron the Moshe Hashem Hashem lan tzis bnei Yisrael meretz mitzrayim al tzivosim. Okay. enough kasha. So what's the teretz? So the Rebbe says, Azoi, what's bothering Rashi is talking the Dibur Amaska. He ata tovis amazeh. So the pasuk says, "Vayemer Moshe Yeshua, Vayikra Moshe Yeshua, Vayemer Elav." He said to him, "Laini kol Yisrael, chazak ve'amotz." Why does he need special chizuk? Why does he need special chizuk? Chazak ve'amotz. Ki ata tovis amazeh loretz. So like this. If you learn the word Tavi, the way it's pshat, Tavi means Tavi esam means you're walking with the people. Why does he need a special chizuk? Why does he need a? If you the pasuk where it says Ki'ata to, not Tavoi, Tavi, you're the leader. You're bringing them out of Yisrael. So therefore, v'yikra Moshe Yeshua v'yemer elav la'inei kol Yisrael chazak ve'amat Ki'ata Tavi esam hazeh loretz shenish b'Hashem lavoisam. So therefore, you need to have chazak v'amotz. But once the pasuk says k'ata tovei, which tovei means you're walking with them equally, special chazak v'amotz. So it's a bit shver. So therefore, a person is going to say, tovei, it's the zel bezach. I was at Rav for many years in the Bronx. So the old people loved. There was one joke they loved. They, like these old Jewish jokes. So there was a Jew that says to Japanese, I hate you guys. You guys started up with us in Pearl Harbor. So the Chinaman says, what? That was the Japanese. It wasn't us. He says, yeah, Chinese, Japanese. That's all bizarre. So the Chinaman says, yeah, the Jews, they sunk the Titanic. He said, what are you talking about? There was an iceberg. It crushed into... Yeah, iceberg, Goldberg. It's the same thing. So, Tavi, sometimes you'd say, yeah, diktok, it's the Zalbazach, but it's not. So therefore, Rashi emphasizes, and Rashi brings the targum. By the way, a lot of times that Rashi says, ketarguma here, Rashi brings the Lashon at the targum to show that no, the Sadoiche. The Rashi brings the Lashon at the targum. Areat teyul im amahodein. And the emphasis, Rashi doesn't like to why b'takez akasha, but it's not true. When you say tovoi means you'll walk with atel imam mahadein. So therefore, vetach akasha, if the pshat is atel imam mahadein, so bezoi, what's so much that Moshe Rabbeinu is calling Yeshua leini kol ha'am, he's saying chazak v'amotz. What's the chazak v'amotz over here? So therefore, Rashi says. Moshe Amar Yeshua's Kenim Shabador Giyo Imach. That he told him he wanted to do. He said something that he thought that would be very nice for Yeshua. He thought he's doing a favor for Yeshua. He thought he's doing something very good for Yeshua. Moshe Rabbeinu Taka, when he saw that Masa was very heavy, so he said that I need Shivim Skenim. So and it worked. It was good. So he said, you know what, Yeshua, Taka, David said that he has to go and fight. And Taka, Rashi brings that he has to go lifneim, Asher Yitzim, Asher Yevim. And Rashi brings that when they lost the second battle after Yerich and the Malach came and told him it was your fault because he didn't walk in front of the army. Okay, so his inyan is to go milchama. To go b'milchama and Yitzim v'yavim b'milchama. But b'masa ha'om, Moshe Rabbeinu thought that maybe it'd be good for Yeshua that it should be hakel, everything should be, let the Zakanim run the show. Milchama, taka, Yeshua will do milchama. But when it comes to all the other things with masa ha'om, and where's it actually taken in the pasuk? It's a little bit of a drei, but the Rebbe is learning it like this. In a lot of time, we see it also in Rashi, Maloischa, but the Chassidus says it, that the word am is maloshin oimemos. Am, like for example, that's taka, like the Tlioka points out that over here it says es ha'om. When the Eibusha spoke as b'nei Yisrael. Derechla, when you say b'nei Yisrael, you're talking about Shem HaMayla. B'nei Yisrael. Wow, this is b'nei Yisrael. Om is om maloshin oimemos, and it's maloshin yedida. So, but on the other hand, it's hazeh, everyone. So Rashi learned like this, that you are equal with everyone else. the Zakanim, they wollen geben Eitzes. And Hakal Lefi, that's what Rashi says, Hakal Lefi Daiton Shel HaZakanim. In this way, Yeshua is equal with the Yeshua and the with the Zel Bazach. When you're walking into Eretz Yisrael, when it comes to Masa besides Melchamas, when it comes to everything else, him and the are the Zel Bazach. Him and the are the same thing. And Moshe Rabbeinu was thinking that this is a good thing for Yeshua. So Yeshua just has to handle the Melchamas. But everything else, him and the that's the way it works in the words. Ki'ata tovei es you're coming with the and you, the Zalbazach. You and the you and Yankel the Schuster, the Zalbazach. Just like Yankel the Schuster hat nicht kein Deya, du hast nicht kein Deya.
That's why it's Tovo and Natavi.
No, Tovei means you're coming together. But who are you going together with? With the Pushta Yidden. Mit Yankel the Schuster, du and Yankel the Schuster, the Zalbazach. Hat nicht kein Deya, du hast nicht kein Deya. And therefore you're equal with him. And that's the diuk why later it says B'nai Yisroel. And over here, Ata Tova, you're walking equally with the entire Ata Tova Es. So and that's the pshat of what Moshe Rabbeinu said to Yeshua. But the child says, but we see Bepoil in the Psukim that it's not that way. The child says right away, but it's not mashma that way from the whole stories in the Psukim. So the Rashi says,
He was not equal.
He was not equal. It doesn't sound that way. So therefore, Rashi
is equal what aspect?
Besides Melchama, there is a council of Zkanim, 70 Zkanim, and they run everything. And him and Yankel the Schuster, the Zalbazach. So the child says, it doesn't sound that way. So therefore, Rashi is continuing. What? So why is he telling him Chazak ve'amotz? Because
militarily.
Because mitzad the military is Chazak ve'amotz, and mitzad everything else he is b'shava with everyone else.
So why is the Nekol Yisrael?
Because it's a big deal. The Chazak ve'amotz is taka for the Melchama, but he's telling him that for everything else you're free. You're free. Everything else, don't worry. When it comes to all internal affairs, you and the Yankel the Schuster, the Zalbazach, you have no achrayas. Don't worry. The Skanim will take care of everything. And that's the way he's learning it in the words. Ata Tovi Esam, you and the when it comes to internal things of the Zalbazach. So the child says, but it doesn't mashma that way from the Pesukim that Yeshua is that way. So Rashi answers that the emes is taka. Yeshua Ata Tovi. Bothering Rashi is not the stira. If it was bothering the stira, he would say it later. It's bothering the child when if you're telling that Tove means you are equal with everyone. It doesn't sound that way from the Psukim, from the whole story. So therefore, that Rashi continues, Yeshua, the Takazo, you're right. Lepoila wasn't that way. The Eibishter said, Ke'ata Tove is Bnei Yisrael. And Tove means Atovi al Korchem. That Hakal Tolei Ba. Well, the diuk and Rashi Hakal is because even Bedas, Moshe Rabbeinu, it wasn't that there was zero was up to him. Gabi Melchama, he would be the manik. Gabi internal affairs. So Rashi says, no, Hakol Toloi Boch. Everything is in you. And that's a pshat tol makol v'hachal kokodem. They have zero. It's a strong lotion. They have zero. Then they have zero say. They have zero say. The Eibishter said that they have zero say. By Moshe Rabbeinu it worked. So that's why Taka was a chidush. That the Eibishter said from Moshe Rabbeinu it worked. From Moshe Rabbeinu it worked. But and the Rebbe says you could say a few pshatim. Because you could say a few things. Rebbe says by Moshe Rabbeinu. Yeshua was nar loyomish metoch oil. But Moshe Rabbeinu, everyone was bottled to Moshe Rabbeinu. So if there was skenim, it didn't take away from the daber echad ladoy. But the Eibishter said that by Yeshua, if you're going to start having that Yeshua runs the Malchamas, and the skenim they run everything else. If it's not going to be hakol tolei boch, it's going to end up being not daber echad ladoy. Yosef has to be daber echad ladoy. If you're going to buy Moshe Rabbeinu, was a yotzim and a klal. Moshe Rabbeinu knew how to do it. That he was the manig of Klal Yisrael. And Taka was daber echad ladoy. And still, he had 70 skenim that were helping the Masa Om. But the Eibishter says, b'derech klal, For Yeshua, it's not going to work. So, in other words, Moshe Rabbeinu meant it l'toivosei shel Yeshua. He didn't. He wanted to take headache off his Talmud. Just like by him, he said, I'm ayin li bosor. It was too hard for me. And Nebuchadnezzar said, I'm going to give you shivim skenim. That will be v'nosam itcha. So Moshe Rabbeinu thought, I'll make it even better for Yeshua. Instead of v'nosam itcha, they'll take care of everything. Don't worry. They'll take care. You'll have to be yotzim v'yavim l'malchama. But Nebuchadnezzar said, no, it doesn't work that way. Because then it's not going to end up being davar echad ladoir. It has to be davar echad ladoir. Because it has to be davar echad ladoir, if you're going to say that the zakenim al hamnadeya, it's not going to end up being davar echad ladoir. So therefore, the Eibusha said, no, it can't be that way. Davar echad v'lo shnei dabarim. Therefore, it has to be tol makal v'hachal kol tkodem. Okay. So this is pshat.
When we started the process by equal, like we just said that the Yeshua was always by Moshe Rabbeinu 10.
Why is Vayeilech? Here.
And in Nikol Israel,
At this point, this is we're talking very Zion. The Pasha Vayeilech is talking about by the Ptira Moshe. Maznai lo Yom Mishpatei Choel is talking about years ago, right? And there was Moshe Notalo Oil.
When you went up to get him.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the pshat. Anyway, this is the way that Rebbe learns it. Mamela fa'emfet ala kashis.
Why is it supposed to say Nikol Israel and the other was it doesn't say Nikol Israel? And from Gimel, it doesn't say.
Right, that's the Eibusha talking. Over here, he wanted to say, Tova yes you and the are going to be, you and Yankel the Shuster, the Zalbazach. But the Eibusha said, no, it's not true. Right, the Eibusha said not. You're not going to be with the the Zalbazach.
Even stronger than Moshe. The Eibusha said Yeshua, stronger than Moshe.
Yeah, but that doesn't nishkashach is medel.
Moshe said that the first passage is Zichalins. Moshe said the first passage is Zichalins.
Yeah. The Shaila asking the Shaila of the Kliyokor. So in Pshat, we're going to say that Moshe Rabbeinu was Chosal Talmidoi, and he liked him a lot. And I mean that's what Rashi's saying, and that he had, he thought he's doing a good thing for his Talmud. And Rabban Shalom said, no, it's not going to work. You're thinking you're doing a good thing for your Talmud, and by you was Unasu Itcha, and they made it easier for you, and you think that it's going to be Faket, but Yeshua will be even better. But they said no. That's why but not that Rashi came to answer Tovi or Tovud, because if Rashi came to answer that kasha, he would have waited later. What Rabbi is saying is that it's bothering here that what's the Hemshech Psukim, Ki Ato. So you might have thought, Tovi, the main Zabatach. No, the Targum says Tovim means you're walking with them equally. Moshe Rabbeinu Moshe thought it's not so shver in Pshuta Shemikra to say such a thing. The Yokataka has a problem with that. But in Pshat to say that Moshe Rabbeinu had a thought that'll be good for Yeshua. And look, Moshe Rabbeinu complained, Na'in Basar. So the Eibusha answered him. So in Pshat, Moshe Rabbeinu said, what's lichtan? It's too hard. The Eibusha said, okay, you know what? Yes, versteht sich al Pidrush, the time of Moshe Rabbeinu there's going to be so much more in it. Not that, if you're going to learn the Orachaim HaKodesh, there's going to be a lot in it. But in Pshat, it's nishta zakasha. Moshe thought he'll do good for his Talmud. The Eibusha is okay. What's wrong?
Right from the Eibusha point of view, if we're not going to have 70 skenim, it's going to be better for Yeshua. It's going to be very hard for him.
No, that's what he's saying. That by Moshe Rabbeinu, 70 skenim would be good.
No, I'm saying,
but by you,
from the Eibusha point of view, why don't you tell Yeshua straight? Only you go. Don't take the 70 skenim. But Moshe, he asked, okay, take. Yeshua, you're on your own.
No, that's what he answered. That's what Rashi's saying. That the Eibusha said that no, it's not going to be Tova. You're going to go equally with the Eden, not the Tovi. You're going to bring them al korchem and taket. There's neshtakim. The way that Rashi is learning taket in this battle given the shivim skenim, there was no more. But Dan Hoga of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Because the Gemara is not mashma. It's mashma, yes. The Gemara is not so mashma that way. Well, yeah, why, what would it be so terrible?
In the Gemara, Rashi says something right. Here Rashi something goes.
What?
In the Gemara, Rashi says something goes, and here Rashi says.
Yeah. The Gemara, Rashi is learning like the Gemara. So the Rebbe has here Pshat and Yena Shel Torah. Chassidus says that Yeshua does two things: the way he's a Meshoris, which is Mikabel Moshe, and then there is Nar, the union of Nar, that is Bittel. Nar is the union of Bittel. The idea of Nar Bittel is Kabbalah Sel Malchut Shemayim. Pasuk says Kanai Yisrael V'Yoveyu. So Chassidus learns the Pasuk Pshat is Kanai Yisrael V'Yoveyu, because they did not like a little child, just like a little baby is very cute, and you love a little baby because a baby, is young, and every shtick the baby does so cute. So the Yidden, when they went out of Mitzrayim, the Eibishter was that way to them. But Chassidus learns Kanai Yisrael V'Yoveyu, Chassidus, that when a Yid is like a Nah, which is that he served the Eibishter in the Kabbalah soil. So there's a special Ava, there's a special Mitzad L'mayla when a Yid serves the Eibishter with not with Seichel, but just with Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemayim. There's a special Ava for that. So the Rebbe says you could say the Pshat like this. Moshe Rabbeinu told him that his avodas Hashem should be al pi atzas haskenim. Skenim zeh shekona chochma. So it should be al pi atzas haskenim. Talk to your own chochma. Do mit chochma. The ma'etz is chochma.
Not bittul.
Yeah.
Not
The
bittul.
Eibishter said no. Hachal kot kodom. Shazay do Mesidus Nefesh, Kabbalah El Malchus Shemayim, even more than it makes sense. The Rebbe says that's a pshat, the apisoid between the difference of Tovoy and Tovi. Vov is a Meshach. Yud is a little Nekude, and in Kabbalah, Yud is the Bittel. That's why Yud is Chochma. Chochma is Bittel. Yud Kevavke. Yud is Bittel. And Vov is the 6 Sfidas, which is the Meshach, bringing it down through all the 6 Sfidas. So Moshe Rabbeinu said the avoid is going to be avoid apitam vadas with a vov, with the vov of the yud ke vav ke. Tova would be with the vov. The Eibishter said no, that Yeshua can turn the avoid, which is much more. He can do the avoid that will be with the yud of yud ke vav ke. So that's the Yena Shel Torah and Ashi. What's the lesson of avodas Hashem? Unbelievable lesson that I've never seen it like this. The Rebbe says that people are complaining against him, that there's a new thing, a campaign with film, mezuzah, tzedakah, Neir Shabbos Kodesh, Kashrus, Tarasha Mishpocha, Pesach Chodesh Asim Men HaTorah. What kind of thing is this? So the Rebbe said, look, every generation has a different davar echad l'doir v'shtei daborim l'doir. My father-in-law said that this is the way it should be. The Rebbe never saw himself as a Metziah. So my father-in-law said that that's the way it should be. What's the Shaila Chodesh? Dabar echad l'doir v'lo shnei daborim l'doir. So there were all the doiris that there were tzaddikim, and they didn't see that it should be that this should be nechitzos, that it should be critical, that you should go out and influence another yid to put on film.
He's taking it himself, and that's it.
So Mamela, what do you mean? What's the kasha? By Moshe Rabbeinu gven a hoger. Yeshua's an hoger. So what's the kasha that we didn't see such a thing in other generation? This is what my father says. Mamela, that's Dan Hoger. It's funny. It's an interesting word. I know my grandmother, the years ago, my grandparents lived in France. So my grandmother asked for a bracha for something, and the Rebbe wrote back a letter saying that there's a new campaign now with Nitzavim. She should talk to other women about Taras Mishmoch. In her mind, she came from Zavine Gerotke, Ashtetl, Zavine Gerotke. You can't find it on the map. The Tate given the Rov, the Zayde given the Dayan. The Ret Yiddish came in French. I used to go with her to the marketplace. She could speak 7 words in French, same 7 words that I know. And she's not going to talk with women, which, like who's living now in France. And, it's mostly Sephardi, like they fluent in French. She was a shtetl. She wrote back. She said, Rebbe, it's something I can't do. I'm a very quiet person, very mas melech thing. This is, so the Rebbe wrote back a letter. Unbelievable. The Rebbe said that when we were behind the Iron Curtain, that I managed to escape in 46. So stood strong, the Mesiras Nefesh, to mechanech children. So what do you mean you can't? For sure you could, just like you stood strong in the difficult days to be mechanech children and behind the Iron Curtain, because definitely you have the koiches, you could do it. So Mela, you ever give a bracha, if you do it, it's matzliach zayin. And the emphasis, a funny thing happened, that she started doing it, even though it was like so not her.
How did she do it?
Huh?
How did she do it?
And so no, she started she did as I ton. No, she got the literature and a little bit, like booklets and this, and she would distribute. And you know what? It gave her what to do. The kids grow up, and she's stuck at it. It's not like you're in New York. It's a gefinzach Paris. So Ataka gave her what to do. She was busy. She used to, if she ever went somewhere, she used to take with her all these things and a few words she could speak. Yeah, you're Jewish, and especially, and then she figured out she could speak in Russian because there are so Russian lachayas. People got excited.
She probably spoke only Yiddish and Russian. That's
Yeah, Yiddish and Russian. So it gave her a lot of chayas. It gave her a lot of chayas. She had a Likkutei Yomer. And she had a lot of chayas. She had what to do. She was always busy. She was doing the sewing. So anyway, that's the bottom line. The bottom line is that there's a dabba. The Rebbe said that his father-in-law was mechadish thing. So l'chayr it's a psachidish dover. But azoi this dabba echad ladoir. And Mamela, we hit that this is something very important to this generation to influence another Yid, especially on these projects. Avos Yisrael, Chinuch, Toida. Emesis, in Poshet here in Flatbush, so many Eden that we meet that the kids are in public schools. You can't imagine how many kids are in public schools there. Poshet here, in this Daladamas, there's a Talmud in Yeshiva that I see him. So he's a bacher from Melbourne. So he's always connecting me to families here, because he goes to public schools. He goes on Wednesday, and he takes out the kids to learn with them. And he calls me up. He's outside for me. Yeah, Imam, it's unbelievable. The Yidden that are living here unto the nose. So that's the Daber Echad Ladoir. The Daber Echad Ladoir says that we should do. They should help them. Matzlich Zan and Avoida. And the Mitzvah Hashem, La'alta L'Tshuva, La'alta L'Giyula. That the Mitzvah Hashem will influence another Yid, and then Ham the Gula Mitzvah Vashlam.
Amen.
Amen. Yishkoyach, Rabbi.
Oh, Yishkoyach for joining us. Hershel Yishkoyach.
Shkoyach, Rabbi.
Ksiva Tzima Toiva, Ashona Toiva Msuka.
Amen. Gam atem.
I'm the cook.
Jack.